Greetings, everybody. Welcome once again to the Rec Poker Podcast, sponsored as always by Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel, as well as the great website AMP and Mark Prashant. In this chat edition of the podcast, we're going to sit down with one of the real gentlemen of the game. I guess we'll find out if he actually is a gentleman. That's what we think of him. But Kenny Hallaert is here. He's originally from Belgium. He lives in London. He made a few deep runs in the main event. Some of you might recognize him from 2016, where he finished sixth and sort of an exciting final table. So we'll chat a little bit about that, get to know Kenny a little bit. First, let's introduce the panel. My name is Steve Fredland. I go by Rec Poker Steve in our Poker Stars home game. And I've got a quote from Maria Konnikova, the biggest bluff. You guys know her. She said, "The benefit of failure is an objectivity that success simply can't offer."
I'm Chris Jones. I'm 5x5 on Poker Stars and Twitter, and I'm really excited to talk to Kenny today.
Hey, I'm Jim Reed, Bluff Sterini in the home game, where you can find out about me and the rest of the wrecking crew by going to rec.poker/crew. And I just want to say that if you think you're better off playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers, just make sure you look at the board, because you might actually be playing checkers.
Oh, like deep thoughts with Jim Reed. Fantastic. All right. Well, after Kenny, you guys know, we'll dig into some of the community happenings. We'll look at who were the home game winners the past week. We'll look at the Run Good road trip that we're going to be a part of, a lot of other things. But let's bring him in. Mr. Kenny Hallaert. Hello, sir.
Hi. Good evening, Steve. Yeah, pleasure to be here on the podcast.
It's taken us way too many episodes to finally have you on, but we are glad that you are here.
Yeah, with much pleasure.
Well, let's take care of the first thing. All right, so here's a little behind the scenes. Whenever I have a guest whose name I'm not quite sure how to pronounce, I mean, I've heard we've seen it pronounced all over the place. So I go and I watch videos, right? I'm like, okay, so the WSOP people are saying Hallaert. Sarah Herring, who I just decided to go with, she's like Hallaert. Brad Owen says something like Hallaert. And Joey Ingram even said like Hallaert. And so I kind of want to go right to you and say, what is the right pronunciation?
Well, in my language, the Dutch language, it would be Hallaert. If in English, I'm quite fine whatever people are calling me. Just call me Kenny for the ease of things. But I would say Hallaert or Hallaert or probably the closest one. Like not the AE is at the end of my last name is actually pronounced in
Well, and usually people like you are so gracious. You're like, just call me whatever. But I like to actually know. I think it's a sign of respect to try to get to know and call it correctly. So I'll say Hallaert. Is that all right?
Hallaert. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
it's as good as I can do with my Minnesota accent. So we'll give it a shot. But tell us a little bit. So I know you're now you're living in London. I mean, you're originally from Belgium. You're living in London. There's a lot of podcast episodes out there that kind of have your whole story. So I don't need to get into all of that. Go listen to Brad Owen's interview if you want, but tell us a little bit about kind of where you're at now. How are you spending your time? I know you were doing all kinds of different stuff before, so just give us a little insight into the life of Kenny Hallaert right now.
Yeah, well, I'm currently on a holiday, a small holiday, 2-week holiday in Mexico, on my way to Las Vegas, because I haven't been in Las Vegas for 2 years, obviously, for the obvious reasons, of course. I didn't visit the city last year, and haven't played a single hand of live poker since February last year. So pretty much, looking forward in order to play some cards again. I mean, in America, they're a little bit more liberal at the moment with rules, whereas in Europe, there's not really a chance so far to play lots of live poker yet. And it started to itch, especially when I saw. The poker rooms in Vegas come out with the summer schedules. Obviously, I put them in my own spreadsheet because in the last year I definitely looked a lot at spreadsheets. Still working, of course, on my game. From time to time, including also like making some spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. And put all the schedules into one spreadsheet. I was looking at it. I was like, I need to go, and booked a plane, booked a hotel, and Vegas is waiting for me at the moment, and pretty much looking forward to it. To play some cards again.
I'd be curious if you gets nervous at all about, like, I know not maybe nervous isn't the right word, but a lot of recreational players that haven't played for 15 months are like, I'm so excited to get back, but man, how rusty am I going to be? Do you have any of that sort of sentiment?
I wonder how it will be as well. Like it's a big question for me. I wouldn't be surprised that I will be actually a little bit nervous in the first couple of hands, just because it has been such a while. It's something like I often still have like a little bit of that like nervousness in me, especially like when you play a big tournament. Like when you sit down, there's that small tension, a little bit that's usually like hanging in the room, and it usually goes away the moment actually I win my first pot. Like whenever I won the first pot, even if it's just like picking up the blinds, and I'm like, okay, cool, like I still got this. Let's now we can start to play some real poker from now on.
And I assume that takes you like one or two hands. You're never really waiting an hour. So, Jim, do you have a comment?
Usually not. No. try to get over it as soon as possible to win the first hand.
Yeah, the earliest the better for that one, definitely. Yeah. You brought up this point of sort of being in this languishing space of live poker, and I'd love to know. Are you playing online instead to kind of keep fresh? And then also, like, what else are you doing to study? You talked about studying, and I know you're breaking down different tournaments and different schedules and that kind of thing. But to keep your skills sharp, what have you been working on?
Yeah, well, luckily there was us living in Europe and having access to most of the major websites. There was no shortage of online poker tournaments. Basically, there has been a poker series non-stop since pretty much since March last year. Like it just didn't stop. If you were like done with one poker series, there was like another poker room saying like, hey, come join us for this next poker series. And then that was done. And then the other poker room said, oh, it's already been 2 weeks since we had a poker series. Let's launch another poker series. And it just kept going and going up until a point where we just kind of like tired of it. It was like pretty much in May, or like, well, April, let's say April, like 2 months or like 1.5 months ago when one of the major series, the Scoop on Poker Star was done, then I was like, okay, like now I really need a break. Like I've been playing so much poker in the last 12 months it was up until that point. It was like, okay, now I need a break because everybody of course was at home pretty much doing nothing. So outside of them playing poker with my study group that I'm part of, we focused a lot, of course, on our games. So we had weekly, even multiple meetings per week, like creating content, content in a way, studying on the game of poker, and then other people you would study on a certain part, some other people would study on another part, and then we would discuss, and then people would come out with their findings, what they had said. And so it was lots of studying was involved. So I definitely kept up with my game, but still live poker is a different game. You can't compare live poker to online poker. Just looking in the player, your opponent's eye is something you don't have in an online environment, and it's still a different game. And in my heart, I'm still a live player. Like I'm not although like I earned, like in my early days, like I built up my bankroll on there, and I got a lot of experience, and a lot of my knowledge from the game comes from online. But still, like there's just nothing as exciting as playing live poker and getting to getting to the money, that the tension that's happening around the bubble, like close to the final table bubble, and eventually like winning a tournament. I mean, actually, I pretty much never have won a live tournament, but, which is
all excited just having you talk about it.
Yeah, me too.
All excited, like the bubble. Let's go.
It's still one of my sort of my main goals in poker, I can say. But you can't order a trophy. Like you have to earn it. I mean, of course, you will need to run good in order to end up with all the chips at the end of the tournament. But still, by sitting online behind your computer, you're not going to win a live tournament as well. So that's again one of the reasons that I'm on my way to Vegas, and hopefully I come back with. Hopefully I come back with a win. But on the other hand, like just being able to play live poker again is already for me a win in itself.
Well, there's a very high correlation between people that are on the show and then they run really good. So we're going to send our run good to you and get that W out in Vegas for you. We'll do our part, whatever we can, from our living rooms. Chris, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, Jim, did you have a follow-up first?
Well, I guess I just want to ask about this study group idea, because that's all about what we do here at Rec Poker. We learn together in groups, we kind of study independently, then we come and pool our thoughts. Can you just talk a bit about why you think that's helpful, who you got involved with, and what that actually looks like over the course of a typical week?
Yeah, we are with a group of all fellow poker players who all play more or less, let's say, on a similar level. And I think it's quite important to have some people around you in order to improve your game, because you're sometimes blind for your own mistakes. You can sometimes be so naturally playing a similar style of poker that you sometimes you lost track of some of the basic things, and if you're part of a study group and from time to time you review somebody's tournament that they played, or especially somebody else review a tournament that you played, like, they can easily spot mistakes because you're not always seeing your own mistakes, and that's a very important thing. And you should be surrounded by people that are more or less ideally they're just slightly better than you, actually. But if you're playing with in a group and there's players in there that are, let's say, 10 levels higher than you, it's hard for you to discuss about things because they're not playing on a level that you're playing. They're playing on a much higher level. Their thinking process is a lot different, and they're playing another competition as well, because the level of competition is completely different at certain stakes. You always have to take into account if you're playing a tournament. Am I playing the weekly $50 here at my local casino, or am I playing a $5,000 main event here, or even, like, let's say a high roller with all people that really think deep about the game? Your strategy changes based on the opponents that you're facing. So with our study group, we just try to grow together as a team, and we try to work on our game and improve our game in such a way that we finally end up to being the best version of ourselves that we possibly can be. Like, I know from myself, I will never be the best poker player in the world. I'm just not talented enough, like, in order to be that. And that's not really my goal as well, to become the best player in the world and beat all the high rollers. Like, let the high rollers have fun in their pool, and I'll enjoy myself in the tournaments that I like and where I feel that I can be very competitive in. So that's still for me, like, my main goal, to be as competitive as I can, but still be aware of what my capabilities and what my possibilities are, and don't aim too high as well, but aim realistically. That's also a thing you always need to take into account. And with our study group, as I said, like, we play more or less all at the same level, and some people have a bit better experience in certain parts of the game. Like, there's people that have a different background. There's people that come from a cash game background, so they're better in let's say studying, or in, let's say, the early stages of the game where the stacks are a bit deeper. There's people that come from a sit and go background who will be very good at ICM decisions and all that kind of stuff. There's people that have devoted a lot of their time on knockout tournaments, especially online. Every other tournament that you open nowadays is a knockout tournament. So if you have some questions, like, you can go to those people. Like, we try to have a group where let's say, for every question that we have in poker, we have somebody in the group that should be able to give us the right answer to our question, and that's how we build up the group a couple of years ago. And of course, because of Corona and everybody being at home and everybody having lots more time, we evolved quite a lot, I would say, as a group altogether, and we managed to study a lot on the game and came up with some nice findings, and what we can do, what we should do, what we should not do, and I mean, I'm happy how. That I have the privilege, actually, of being part of the study group, that I am.
It's awesome.
Look, Kenny, I kind of wanted to shift gears a little, and I think one of the ways that a lot of poker players know you is the spreadsheet, and
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about. And for those of you who aren't aware, you should be aware if you're ever going out to Vegas. Well, not this year during the summer, but usually during the WSOP, whenever that is, it's kind of the Bible for everyone, And you just talked about finding the right tournaments for the you don't want to play in the high roller. You want to find the right tournaments, the ones that you feel you'll be competitive in. And that's sort of obvious when you kind of look at this spreadsheet and the kind of the labor of love that it is. But I'm wondering if you can just talk about how that came to be, what your process is for putting that together, and then some stories you've heard about how people have used that over the years.
Yeah, I made it. I couldn't find, I think, the first versions that I made, but it must have been somewhere, I think, around 2010 or so. I was going to Vegas at that point. Like from 2008, I never have missed a single World Series of Poker Summer. And I was going. It was before I went. Like I was trying to plan my schedule and what I will be playing. And then you're looking at all these different schedules. From, I mean, at the time it was, of course, the World Series, and then Venetian. Wynn didn't really have a series, but Caesar's Palace definitely had still a big series by then. There was, I think, Planet Hollywood was around, and there was like some other Binions and Golden Nugget. I mean, Golden Nugget still has usually a decent series. Binions at the time also had a big series. The last couple of years they kind of had a little bit of an easier schedule. But anyway, there was lots of different schedules, and you're just looking at 5 different schedules in a completely different layout, and you're trying to find like what the best schedule is, and you have, okay, is this a 2-day, or what is, when does this exactly start, and when is the late reg done, and it's kind of a mess if you're trying to plan a month and a half schedule. And I was like, okay, let me just put this in like one big sheet, which it has a nice overview, and then it will be easy to see all per day, like, okay, this day this specific tournament is going on. And then mainly I did it purely for myself, not that I don't wanted to share, but I was like, probably like people will not be interested in this anyway. Like I didn't feel the need to necessarily share this. And I think that year I might have sent it to a couple of friends, and then the next year I again sent it to some friends, and then they forwarded it to some friends, and that's kind of how the ball got rolling. And then it was like, some people asking me, saying like, hey, I received this schedule, and it was like, oh, well, actually maybe I should make it little bit more public, because it doesn't matter for me. Like, first and foremost, still the main reason that I'm making the schedule is purely for myself, to have a good overview. And if I have to, if I can put it online and help other people with it, I'm glad for it. Like, there's definitely, like, for me, there's not a single commercial intention for it. Like, sometimes people have offered me money, but I always refused. I mean, if people offer me money, I usually say like, give it to a charity, or give it to who you think like somebody could need the money better than I can, because this is like has zero financial interest in me for putting this up. For me, it's my yearly contribution to the poker community. And I've always been a guy that was in love with numbers and spreadsheets. So like I do enjoy making all of this, all of these schedules.
I'm a 30-year actuary, Kenny. So spreadsheets are life. Like you couldn't have picked I mean, I don't want you to write an application. I don't want you to do any good GUI interface. Keep it a spreadsheet. Like, that's what we need. So I love it personally.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a great contribution to the poker community. And you're right, because like if you try, before the first time I went to Vegas, I remember I was not aware of your spreadsheet, and I was trying to do just what you were talking about. Well, here I'll go here, but maybe I can go here, but can I really? And what's happening? And it's so hard. You're on 5 different websites. You got all these PDFs downloaded. It's a mess. And then I found your spreadsheet. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's so amazing. Yeah, so thank you for doing that. I know you're doing it for yourself, but I think it's a huge service to the poker community.
Well,
Yeah,
I appreciate that idea of saying, you know what, it's no more work for me to make this available to other people. And I'm sure if there's an error, maybe somebody has an issue or whatever, but like, I just love that mentality in humans that have that idea of saying, I'm going to produce this for myself, but why not share it with everybody else? And so I do really appreciate that. I think that's a great ambassador piece.
yeah, you're more than welcome. Like I said, like I do with lots of love and pleasure.
Yeah, and so we'll put that link. I've got the link here that we're looking at. I'll put the link out in the show notes. If you guys can't find it or whatever, let us know. But it's a fantastic resource. I want to switch gears a little bit too, and I love that question, Chris. I love the spreadsheet. It's a big part of Kenny's stuff. And now, as you're kind of looking back on the main event, I think for recreational players like me and some of us or whatever, we think, oh man, he had the sixth place in the main event, and we just sort of, that's all we know about you, right? Like, because there's some people that follow really closely, but a lot of recreational players watch the main event. That's maybe all the poker they ever watch on TV, and then they just play. And so we think that's all you've ever accomplished. I mean, you've accomplished so much. You've got all these multi $10 million plus of earnings, all this stuff. But I am curious about the main event. I'm sure you get asked about it so much, but now 5 years later, I don't know if you ever spent time reflecting on it, or just when somebody brings up the 2016 main event, like what comes to mind? Like what is still there, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's whatever, just kind of what's in your brain now?
I mean, there's still, if I think about it, a little bit of disappointment. Like I entered the final table as fourth or fifth, and
I think,
yeah, and so you're aiming for, let's say, at least fourth place. Like, I mean, fifth would have been happy. Sixth felt slightly a little bit as a disappointment, but looking back at the big picture of it, there's still lots of joy actually coming back to memory in a way as well, because it is up until now, and it probably will remain my best ever poker experience. Like as I just said, like winning a major tournament is still something that I want to achieve, but I'm not sure if that will beat the whole main event experience. The main event is a discipline on itself, pretty much inside the world of poker, and it's a completely different tournament, and you cannot compare it to any other tournament in the world. They're just
say a little bit more.
There's not a single tournament that comes close. Like people said, like have questioned themselves which tournaments would be close, and sometimes people say like it could be the Australian Open, that's the tennis tournament. The Aussie Millions main event, which also has a $10,000 buy-in, is also pure freeze out, or some other people say LAPC, but they're still not coming up until the knees of what the main event is. Basically, it's the main event stays such a unique tournament in its by itself, and achieving that sixth place was such a privilege as well to be there, because I mean you can play as good poker as you want, but having to plow through a 8,000 player or 6,000 player field, like you still need to the cards still need to fall in the correct way. Like I mean you can play as good as you can, you still need to dodge some of these mines in there and dodge some bullets, as Phil Helmut would say. And there was actually 2015 we already had a very, well, you can say a deep run. I finished 123rd, which is in the top 2% or something of the field. And after that, I felt also like a little bit disappointed, because it was like, this could have been like the once in my lifetime opportunity to finally make it deep in the main event. And I wouldn't say I ruined it. I just got eliminated by, which, pretty much a standard situation. I mean, just poker happened basically. And because as I said, the final 2%, there's people out there that are much better than I, and that might have played the main event as well for 15, 20 times and never been that close to even where I already was. And all of a sudden, then 2016 comes around the corner, and before you realize you're making it run again, all of a sudden you're on. It was eliminated on day 5, I think. In 2015, and all of a sudden 2016 is day 5, and you're there, and you're like, okay, what's this again? Take 2. And I'm receiving another opportunity here, and luckily for me at the time, like the cards kept falling my way, and before I realized, actually, I was at the final table. It was the final, the last time. Actually, there was a November 9 as well, which I kind of regret that format has been taken away, because I think it's such a, for the players that are sitting there, it's such a unique opportunity, and you want to not necessarily prepare yourself as a player for it, because the level, it's the same for everybody, whether you have 1 day or no days off, or you have 3 months off. It's the same rules for everybody, but you want to enjoy that moment as well. And now, and with the 3 months hiatus that was in there in between, you could organize things. You could let people and friends, like family and friends, fly in from where you are, and let people organize themselves. Because if you would reach the final table today, and especially me living in Europe and having all of my family and most of my friends living in Europe, you just can't organize any of these things anymore, and you won't be able to share that close experience with them, actually, when you, and as a poker player in your career, you pretty much achieve the highest what you can achieve at that point. And for me, like I said, like I was very, very, very happy to be there. And then the 3 months, of course, I did prepare myself as well, and try to be as a good ambassador as I could be for the game, because that's sort of like how I remember in 2016, the day after the main event, there was a meeting that we had with all of the finalists and the tournament director and some people from ESPN, and I said there literally to everybody, I said, like, every year, like 9 ambassadors for the game get randomly chosen, like to be an ambassador for a couple of months, and we were just fortunate that yesterday our numbers were drawn. It's nothing more than that, and there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of poker players out there who never will be able to play the World Series of Poker main event, or even like a single World Series of Poker. Even like to be in the Rio, like for them, would already be a very big achievement. And if we want to continue to let this game grow and keep playing this game that we at the end of the game we all very much like, for as long as we could, like, we need to be good ambassadors for the game and be accessible to everybody that wants to ask you some questions, and make sure you at a local or an international level, it doesn't matter, make sure you put poker in a good daylight. And one of us then at the end, like, will have the privilege to be an ambassador for the next year, whoever ends up with all the
and I love that perspective, because I think, there's sports people or whatever too that'll be saying, well, hey, I never signed up to be an ambassador, I never signed up to be this. And some poker players are probably thinking the same thing, like, I never signed up to be an ambassador, but you are, like, you are. And I think, as a group here that's trying to grow the game from the grassroots level, right? From people playing home games, from bar leagues, and trying to encourage people to play that $30 tournament, and then eventually the $500, and then go to the World Series. Like, we see people there. And I think one of the things that stops people from continuing that growth, not just in their skill level, but just in their desire to play at higher levels, is when people are really bad ambassadors. And we've seen some WSOP, players, champions, final tablists that are great ambassadors, and we've seen others that aren't. And when I hear stories, I've gone to Vegas. Friends of mine go to Vegas. People that are part of Rec Poker go to Vegas, and they interact with some of them. And there's a high correlation between the folks that have good interactions with the right people, and then they come back, and the ones that have bad interactions with the wrong people, and they don't come back. And so I appreciate you recognizing the fact that it does matter to those of us who are watching.
Yeah, because for me, that's at the moment you register for the main event. And for me, that's kind of that you're also agreeing on, if you win this whole thing, that you will be an ambassador for the game. And I know lots of people, as you said, like, are not agreeing with my point of view. I mean, like, I'm not gonna look into any trouble with those people or anything. But and some people
top 10, like, who are the 10 people that you think are the worst ambassadors?
some people will say like we're not getting paid for this, and in a way, like I can definitely see their point of view as well. But even though you're not getting paid to do this, poker is still your main income, and if you want people, like if you want to keep this as your income, it's in your best interest to make sure that people keep entering the game, and at the end, like it's poker in a way is sort of a pyramid scheme as well, like whereas people start from the bottom, they move up to the top, and the money kind of goes slowly to the top, but it's in your best interest that the bottom gets fueled as well. So that's for me, like that's why you should, if you're out there like at the top level, you should be a great ambassador for the game. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely people that are at a very high top that are extremely good ambassadors for the game, of course, that will do everything in order to promote the game that we all love.
Yeah, and that's what, you made the point. I agree with it. Like, people can choose to do whatever they want, right? Whether they can choose to be an ambassador or not. But I think, people are going to align with people that are good ambassadors. So if you care anything about your legacy, but also for us as, I think we have a responsibility as a podcast, as a community ourselves, to align ourselves with people like you who are good ambassadors. Because I think otherwise it sends this mixed signal, like, hey, learn poker in the context of community. We're all going to have fun. We're going to learn the game together. And then you talk to somebody who's, doesn't portray that, and it's confusing to people.
Yeah, I mean, even like sometimes you're present that you're at the TV table. Sometimes it could sometimes be really annoying by people sitting there like they haven't washed their hair in a week, and they're wearing the same clothes that they were wearing in the last 5 days, and they would like sitting there with their hats and their caps and their face covering. I mean, of course, I'm talking pre-corona times, like nowadays. You might have some different rules in place, of course, but like people and not completely, like not talkative as well, because that's something that I said as well, like at the same meeting. I said, like, just play normal, like, and don't waste any time that you don't need to waste. Like if somebody is like shoving 15 big blinds and you're sitting there with your jack 3 off, just fold it. There's no need to make a whole scene and think for 30 seconds there. Like you're gonna enjoy the experience as well, and you will get your time for TV, and nobody. And on the other hand, like if you, let's say, like you're at the final table and somebody reshoves 30 big blinds and you're sitting there with a pair of nines or something, feel free to take your time. Nobody will also like be mad at you if you take a couple of minutes for your time for a tough decision that you have as well. Like, but just play normal, and it will contribute definitely to the game in general.
It's huge. So
because we have seen previous years as well where people were literally like taking it to the extreme, and I mean sometimes people like to be the villain as well, of course, in the game. They're playing a game within the game as well to make sure they're the villain. But I mean, there's not really prizes to be won for that title anyway, and so I mean, poker needs characters as well. Don't get me wrong. If everybody would be thinking and playing the same, it would be boring, of course, in a way as well. And you can be a character at the table for sure, but make sure you're a positive character, not a negative character.
And that's not even being a character, sitting there waiting for a minute for your jack 3 offsuit to fold. Like, at least tell us jokes or something. Like, at least fill the space with something. So I'm kind of curious now, and forgive me that I don't know this, but are you still doing tournament directing, or have you moved on from that?
I haven't done any tournament directing since 2019 anymore. Of course, last year was nothing. I haven't really looked actively as well into new opportunities as well. I was working for Unibet up until 2019, and then we ended there. And 2020, no live poker anyway, and over here, over in Europe, there's not much happening at the moment anyway. Like, I think we still need to wait until last year before we see some bigger, or maybe at the end of the year, who knows? Like, we might see some major tournaments coming back again, but for now it's still just waiting. And I don't know what the future brings for me as well. If new opportunities come up, or if I'm getting contacted by organizations, like I always will listen to what they have to say. But over the last 2 years, I put a lot of focus on my own game, and it has been going okay, and I can't complain. And the main reason I always had a job pretty much in poker, always next to being a player. I got to know the game in 2004, and I was working as an electrician back then. I got a job offer then in the poker world in 2008, and I accepted the offer, and that job gave me a little bit more opportunities as well to focus on my game, to play a bit more left and right, to travel a little bit more. And the idea was at that time for me, like, okay, I'm gonna do this 3, maybe 4, if I'm lucky, maybe 5 years, and then I'll basically I just go back to the factory. That was kind of the idea that I always had in my head, but I started that in 2008. And look now, like we're 13 years later, and I'm still here. And it's impossible in poker as well to predict the future. But I always had a job next to it, and it made me always feel comfortable. First of all, money-wise, because I had a job that paid the bills, and I strictly kept both things separate. I had my poker bankroll, I had, let's say, my live bankroll, and for my in order to pay the bills, I had a regular job, and in that way, I never had to worry about my poker bankroll, which was definitely a good thing, because I didn't necessarily take any more risk, but there was no need for me in order to make money every month. I could just play freely, and I had good result. And the money that I won with poker, I added it to my bankroll, put some aside. Do some fun stuff with it. Pretty much, that's how I kind of organized myself. And it was also good to have a little bit of a distraction at that moment for poker, because if you have to play poker 365 days per year, you're gonna get bored out of it as well, or like burned out even from it. So whenever I was playing poker, I was looking forward to organizing an event, and then whenever I was organizing an event, I was really looking forward again to play again. So I had this very good balance at that moment in my life, and I kept just doing that for more than 10 years. And then of course last year being a little bit different, but luckily I had that bag of 10 years of experience I had with me already. So I definitely also helped me, like in times like last year as well, in order for still me to let's say survive as a poker, because as I earlier said, like I'm not technically the best poker player, and I will never be, but I have, I would say, other capacities that you need to have as a good poker player in order to be a good poker player. Like you need to have patience, perseverance, you need to have good bankroll management. And throughout those 15 years I'm basically in poker, like I've seen so many people come and go, and I saw so many people that were way better poker players, like pure technically poker players than I did, but they just couldn't handle the money, they couldn't handle the swings, they couldn't handle the emotions. But I'm still, after all these years, I'm still around, because I'm also good at those other things. The best poker player in the world is not necessarily the best poker player.
Well, I hope someday I'm as bad of a poker player as you are. That would be. But well, respect your time. And Chris, why don't you wrap us up? If you get the last question or comment.
Sure. Well, I was just gonna kind of extend on that. As somebody now, you've had a ton of like success. You could call yourself not the best poker player in the world, but you've had a lot of poker success at the table. But you've also you've worked in the poker industry, and I think a lot of poker players, they love to complain about tournaments and structures and rake and all the kind of stuff that goes into pulling off a tournament. And I'm wondering if, like, from the sort of the tournament director side, what is the one thing that you wish poker players understood about, understood better, complained less about, talked less about the game, and like pulling off a successful tournament or tournament series?
As a poker organizer, you're always right to be as good for everybody, but you can't do good for everybody. Because some people like a faster structure, other people try to find like a slower structure, but you still need to find a balance. And still, like there's people working at a poker tournament that also like need to be paid. Those people also like need to eat or like have a beer with their friends on the weekend or go on a holiday. Like we do have costs as well. And to run a poker tour, like often poker tournament, like you run them in casinos, and as an income for the casino owner, like poker tournaments are usually not the best. They're more as a marketing tool as well. And we try to keep, usually you try to keep the rake as competitive as possible, but you still need to you have to pay all of your cost of mainly employees. That's usually by far the biggest cost that goes in. So we need to take a share of the price. We have to keep a share of the prize pool in us in order to cover those costs. Like poker, like whoever works in poker will be able to confirm this. And because everybody that works in poker, you have to be in love with poker. If you don't love the game, you cannot work in poker. You will not survive. Not for it's impossible to survive. You may be able to do it for a couple of months, but after that you won't be able to survive. And we all have a very big love for the game, whoever works in poker, and we also have the same goal to try to make it as an enjoyable experience for all the players and that are coming to our tournaments that we are organizing. And even though like the rate might sometimes sounds a little bit high, like we're usually poker tournaments not always organized to make huge profits out of it. Like that's often, I would say, like a big misunderstanding that people have for poker organized as well. Like sometimes people you would, let's say you host a $550 tournament where there's $50 of rake, and sometimes people they expect it to get comped for $100, but like guys, like you pay $50 in rake, like we have our cost, and now you ask us like to give you back another $100. Like that's not how it works. Like like
it's hard.
Like this is what you pay. And if you go to a restaurant and like you also don't ask, can I get a discount here at the end of your meal? Like no, like this it's clear, and you have to just always, I would say, like be clear with whatever you're taking out of the prize pool as well. Just again, as you go to a restaurant, if you think this is too much for you, okay, go to the next restaurant. Like fair enough. But like we'll like if you don't prefer to eat a steak here for $40, well then have a burger in the next at our neighbors for $20. But we try to always give you, or at least me, like try to give you as good and professional and fair experience when running a tournament. And we just we have to
call that out. I mean, I think the point, the point really is there's not a lot of money in tournament poker for the casinos. And if you missed last week's episode, we talked to a casino manager specifically about the business of poker, and he's saying the same things that you said. Like it's not a loss leader, but it's not going to make money compared to some of the other things that could be done there, even cash games or table games. So it's good for the tournament players to understand they are not making a ton of money off of you. Yes, they are taking a rake, but they are paying the bills. You go try to run a casino, you go try to put in tables and staff and tournament clocks and all that kind of stuff, and see if you can do it on $12 a rake. I think it's just can't be done.
I mean, put a roulette table or a slot machine in the place of a poker table, and your earnings by square foot will definitely be way higher. But as I said, it's a marketing tool. It's to attract people, to your venue and such, and then hope that they might spend some money, of course, at the hotel, restaurants, other games, cash games. Table games, whatever.
Go take your $100 food voucher and cash that in at the place. But Kenny, I just want to respect your time. This is fantastic stuff. It's so great to meet you. It's great to kind of hear your heart behind this. I think we all have an impression of who you are based on seeing you on TV. But it's very fulfilling to me to kind of meet the man behind the perception and see that it holds together. So I do appreciate you being such an ambassador for the game. Yeah, I did not see Chris's wife jump in the room to talk to you, so I'm a little disappointed. So love to do a private greeting for her, but because I know that she enjoys you. But let's kind of wrap up here with how people can connect with you. I know Spacey FCB, right? Is that the right?
Yes, Spacey FCB on Twitter. If people like, I mean, I'm always try to reply to every question. I mean, I will reply to every question that I want to reply as well. Like usually, like I mean, that also like. Not that I have been asked many questions, I would say in the past that I really don't want to answer, but like I'm always open for questions. Yeah, Spacey FCB on Twitter. That's my main social medium that I'm using.
And I know you've got the link to the spreadsheet on your Twitter feed as well. And if you can't find,
yeah, actually, is it pinned? Maybe it's not. I'll check
LY/WSOP 2021. So we'll put in the show notes, but bit.ly/WSOP 2021. Yeah, if you can't find Kenny on social media, reach out to us. If you can't find the spreadsheet link, reach out to us. We'll make sure we connect you there. Hopefully we run into you in Las Vegas from the end of September to middle of November. That would be fantastic. Hopefully your travels all work out fine from England and getting over there. But Kenny, man, it's a pleasure. Any final words for Rec Poker Nation before we let you go?
Enjoy the game at whatever you're playing, like just enjoy the game. Like you can be competitive, but don't forget whenever you're playing, who's at your table, they're opponents, they're not enemies.
Love it. All right, well there he goes, Kenny Hallaert. I will be working on that name for sure, but thanks again. We'll be in touch, and best wishes with everything you have going on.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for being on the show, and I hope to see you guys around anytime soon.
Sounds good. All right, Kenny. Well, we're going to take care of some community stuff. You can jump off there. We'll be in touch. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, there he goes, Kenny Hallaert. I'm going to be working on that name. I'm promoting Andrew Feist to jump in here as well. Andrew is a little bit late tonight, but happy you were able to jump in here. So let's just quick. I know we're almost at time here. Let's go quick. Any feedback from Kenny?
Well, it's nice to meet the guy. We've all been looking up to him. He's one of those great poker professionals, and he didn't disappoint. Everything I expected.
Yeah, and I mean seriously, if you're going to Vegas and you haven't found your way to this, I mean it's an amazing service he does. It'll save you hours of time and misdirections and going to the wrong place or showing up at day 2 and a day 1 or what. It just will save you from making all kinds of errors. It's such a great tool.
And I think a lot of people that have never been out there during the World Series and don't realize how many tournaments are happening in Las Vegas at the time. You're thinking, well, how hard can this be? Like, it's either running aces at 10 or it's Canterbury at 11. Like, how hard is this? And when you see how many tournaments are happening all the time, you're gonna be very glad you have the access.
And sometimes, the other thing is like you might get knocked out of something really quick, and like you can check Kenny's spreadsheet. You could probably hop into something else if you want. So
that was the biggest thing when the first time I was in Vegas for the World Series was like that. Like I'd bust out and then I'd look at like I don't remember which app I was using, but like, oh my gosh, I could go play here at 10, here at 10:30. Here's another one at 10:30. Here's one at 11. Crazy. But if you don't have a centralized system, it's pretty difficult. All right. Well, Jim, do you want to queue up Mr. Little, and then we'll come back? All right.
Have you ever wondered whether you should call a pre-flop raise or 3-bet instead? What do you do when you have a flush draw? Do you raise it or do you just call?
Man, I don't know.
What do you do with ace-king when you miss the flop? Are you tired of guessing about what the right play is with your particular hand? Well, my name is Jonathan Little, and I am a 2-time World Poker Tour champion and creator of PokerCoaching.com, where we offer over 1,000 interactive hand quizzes where you play a hand and then get real-time feedback from our world-class pros. Don't guess and don't stress. Just register for your free account at PokerCoaching.com/recpoker right now.
And I was talking to Jonathan Little recently, and he's serious about that. If he catches news that anyone has been guessing or stressing, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be real trouble. He told me. He also told me that if you go to PokerCoaching.com/recpoker and you sign up and you don't think you learned something after a month or two, you can just email him and he will actually just give you all your money back. So that's a straight up money back guarantee. PokerCoaching.com/recpoker. Check it out. Don't make him mad.
Talk about no stress in that situation, huh?
Hey, you nailed it, man. I like that.
All right, well, let's get into some of the community stuff. So just real quick, this thing will air on June 22nd, which means some of us are in Iowa. Tanner, you'll be in Iowa. Somsky and I will be in Iowa. There's like a half a dozen of us that are going to be in Iowa playing the Run Good series. And you know what?
Jealous. I'm jealous.
Oh,
There
God.
may or may not be rooms and beds still available by the time you're listening to this. We got a few available.
Chris, you sound sick in about a week. You sound sick in about a week. You should.
Yeah, Chris, you look like something's coming down. You know
Yeah.
Somsky and I are driving down there. We're just going to swing by your house and kidnap you. And
Yes.
It's going to be so fun. So anyway, there might still be beds available if you're listening to this. If you're thinking, man, maybe I'll run down there for the main event or whatever, reach out. If we have spots available, I'll let you know. So home games. Who's covering home games? Am I covering home games? The great John Somsky isn't here.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. So this week, let me see. I think there was a problem with the mixed games. Let me just confirm. There was some sort of issue on the June 9th mixed game. I don't know. I can't quite make that out. All right, well, maybe we can get John to clear that up in time for another episode. Too bad for whoever won on June 9th. I do enjoy those mixed games. On the 7th,
okay,
Carl...
all right, Taylor Moss, June 9th, mixed games. Way to go, Taylor. Good job, young man.
Yeah, Gopher Boy TJM, which is his first mixed game. You know, I'm not even going to try and remember how John does this. These structures he's got built out here. It's not his first in many things. It was his third lifetime mixed game pin, I think, or win. We'll get John.
It's first this year, third lifetime. I think that's what those numbers mean.
There you go. Nice. On the 7th, we had Carl 0621, the great Carl Anderson, coming in and winning the daily. On the 8th, it was John Lutzy, aggressive player to your left, otherwise known as. Kelly Stork came in and swooped on June 10th. On the 11th, Eric Romo, GF Hawk. On the 12th, Saul 23658, Matthew Rosenthal. That's a new one for me. Congratulations, sir. And then we had some other kind of weird error on the 12th in the mixed events.
Yeah, all these mixed games, we can't figure out who won these. Some kind of giant error.
Yeah. I think I know why John didn't make the show today, because he didn't want to have to get through a couple of these. This one sticks in my craw. Rec Poker Steve, the one and only Steve Fredland. Was this the 5? What game was this, Steve?
This is Omaha 8. Oh my God, get off of Badoogie. Like, that was I only got to practice it like once or twice, and then I played the actual one. I was out in 3 hands, like Badoogie. Like, I thought I had good hands. It was like a disaster. So this got me a little bit more in my wheelhouse.
And then in the international events, we put these out at a special time on Saturday so that folks overseas can get a crack at it. And if folks in the Eastern and Central time zone want to get a smaller field tournament, you can sneak in there. On the first one on June 12th, Rocket Box Poker, our own Woody Adams won. And in the later afternoon one, it was Richard Deitz, Mr. D's, the Tuesday night maestro. And on Sunday night, we have our Learn Pro Poker event, where the winner gets a free month at LPP. And if anyone takes out Ryan the Plant, who plays in it from time to time, you also win a bounty of a free month at LPP. This week, it was Glass Jaw, Dave Schoon, who I've seen in on this list a few times. So congratulations, Dave. Email me, jim@rec.poker, to get the details on how to claim your free month at LPP.
You know, we've had Bernard Lee play. We've had a 3-time bracelet winner, Adam Friedman, play. Kevin Mathers jumped in there Saturday night to play both tournaments. So we're going to have to start looking at, are there more bounties that we need to start putting out here when some of these studs start jumping in there?
I'm going to start putting a bounty on Woody Adams if he keeps 3-outing me in the Saturday afternoon tournament. Yes, Woody, I'm looking at you, Woody. We're all real chipper and friends still, but I'm coming for you with your King 4. Don't think I didn't notice.
Well, good stuff. We didn't interrupt you as much as John.
I tried to move it along a little.
Well, Chris, how about you? How about anything on the content side of things?
Well, 2 things. So we're continuing on with our new way of doing our seminars with these learn and play and learn series. We're going to be focusing on the early stages of the tournament for our July session. And that should be that's coming up soon. The other thing I wanted to mention is we've kind of decided to shift gears a little on our focus study group. And I'm really excited about it because it's my latest poker obsession. We're going to be going episode by episode through the web series called Inside the Mind of the Pro. And if you've never watched that series, I think it's the best sort of like video poker content that not like learning based content, but like kind of like capturing the spirit, but also capturing thought processes of pros. It's a really well done series. They've traveled to different major tournaments, including the WSOP. There's some really good players involved in it. So we started that off this month. We talked through an Adrian Mateos episode, who I think is, just one of the best players I've ever seen play. And hearing him talk about some spots was really interesting. And we're going to continue that series as we go. And to kind of tease you just a little bit about it, what we talked about was the fact that he took 2 plays where he's out of position in the same hour episode. One which I feel like is the more conventional bluffing line, and one is a sort of kind of a less conventional. It was a no equity. He had no backdoors. He had no nothing. And the one that had no equity and no hope and no backdoors, that's the one he took to finally he got 200 big blinds in as a bluff. And the other one that seemed like it had a gut shot, it had 2 overs, it had a backdoor flush draw, it had all this sort of stuff going on with it. He just check folded it. But when you listen to him talk about it, it makes perfect sense. It makes absolutely perfect sense based on the opponents he's talking through, the way the tournament's flowing, the stage of the tournament he's at, what the hand action was before the flop. And so I think that's fascinating, because sometimes we get locked into this, well, this is a good bluffing candidate and this is not because it's got these attributes, right? And so I think this series can challenge a lot of our thinking, and it's really going to be really good to talk through.
So who can participate in that, Chris? And when should they be participating?
So that's for our premium members. It is the second Wednesday of every month. And then Jim hosts fourth Saturday of every month. There's an in between conversation about what's going to be happening at the next month. And will those conversations, will that be available after the fact for premium members? Yes. If you're not able to sit in so on if you missed the last one, I think you can either, probably by the time this airs, it'll be available on our website. You can catch up there. All the links to these videos, they're free. They're on YouTube, these Inside the Mind of the Pro videos. So even if you're not a premium member, you can go find the Adrian Mateos and watch it yourself and kind of suss out what I was just talking about, because that's all available content. But we're going to really look at it with some depth and try to break down exactly why they're making these decisions, or he's making these decisions. Amazing. That kind of thing. Amazing stuff. Well, anything else on the content side? No, I think that's good. Andrew, how are we sitting with learning with partners? Anything going on there that we should be aware of?
Just a few things. So if anybody isn't aware, first of every month we do release Learning with Partners. Our Learn Pro Poker video gets released, but then every Saturday of the month there is all of our other affiliate members for a Learning with Partners are released then. We do have a new one this month, which is a Presence and Profit with Jason Su. So pretty excited about that one. That one's going to be titled Curiosity. If you guys aren't familiar with some of Jason's stuff, it's pretty awesome. It's how to kind of stay present in your head and your body, and to make sure you don't just kind of go out and space out, because that's how you can usually stay best in your play your best game, I guess is the best way to put it. But really excited about that. So we are going to have so Jason did join the Learn with Partners, so we are going to have a video of him this month and every month coming up. So real excited about that stuff too. Different shout out.
Sorry, real quick, let me jump in there. Sorry.
Real quick. Oh, yep, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, Andrew.
No, you're fine.
We have so much.
Mine was different, so you're fine.
I just want to make sure that people are aware, because we are getting new people listening every week. People are jumping on, and we're trying to get some people up to speed, because they've asked me, said, hey, I don't really know what some of these terms mean and stuff. So I'm just going to, that's why I asked Chris, I'm going to try to fill in the blank a little bit. Like, if you are a premium member at Rec Poker, Andrew has access to all of these partners that we have. It's crazy. I don't even know, 6, 8 or whatever, just high level premium content stuff. They have given us the authority to choose 15 minutes of premium content from each of those every month. And Andrew puts that together into a Learning with Partners video, and it makes it available to premium members. So it's such a great, you get a couple hours of this premium content You get the Chris Jones stuff. Then you get this 2 hours from Solve for Why, Red Chip Poker, PokerCoaching.com, Learn Pro Poker, Lexi Gavin. I mean, all this stuff for free. And then it also gives you a great test drive too, to find out if you want to take your game to the next level and go to the next level of learning. You can try all of these different things and find out who you resonate with the most. So I just think it's an amazing program. And I know we have more in the works too. We're kind of keep throwing stuff over the wall at Andrew too. Like, hey, these guys want to partner. So more announcements to come. Sorry, Andrew, go ahead. I cut you off there. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Mine was completely off topic. I lost my Rec Poker hat at Canterbury. So if anybody finds it in the parking lot, please send it to Andrew Feist.
Oh.
Well, what do you got
2 days ago?
You got a patch on there or what?
No, so my
you
new
other one.
logo on my other one, my black one, I apparently set it on the top of my car and drove away.
Oh no!
You didn't have it that wasn't personalized, was it? Was it?
No, it was just a black and white one, which I'm going to be ordering another one of. But yeah, I was still really sad when I got home and I couldn't find it, and I was like, oh, that's
You
right.
sure it wasn't just you busted the tournament and you threw it in the parking lot?
Dang it!
Actually, I really had to lean on Chris to steal that off your car. That was a real tough one, but I'm glad we're getting the sale.
You don't realize how high demand these hats are. People are stealing them now.
Yeah, apparently, it's just gone.
Well, anything else, guys, for the good of the order? Anything else we need to? I mean, there's always stuff to get people up to speed on, but anything that's kind of pressing?
I guess by the time people hear this, there will have been some pretty big website changes. There will have been. There, we get up on the roof and go shoot about it. But yeah, there'll have been some structural changes to the website. So website, Mark and I have been chipping away in the salt mines for the last week or two. We're adding some colors to the different forums to make it more clear which ones are premium, which ones are learning, which ones are there for the community aspects of things. We're adding some colors and tags to the different events in the calendar so that you can see immediately. Yellow is for play, blue is for engage, premium is purple like the Vikings. That one's just for you, Steve. There's all sorts of fun little things to make it easier. Don't worry, Andrew, there's some green stuff in there too, and a little Steelers yellow here and there, just in case people were wondering.
That's for the low grade content. The green, right?
Well, you go poke around. So you go poke around, Chris, and everybody else go poke around the website and see, A, how does it look? B, what can we do differently? And honestly, I would really appreciate it. Just email me, jim@rec.poker, and say, hey, this doesn't work. This link is wrong. You can say this different. Anything like that. I'd rather hear too much than too little. And if I can have you do one thing, if you're a free community member, go over to the left on that red bar and check out all the different groups we've got going on. There's a lot of the stuff that Chris is going to be posting these videos. If you're not in the group, you might not see the forum post that has all the information. So get in the group, buddy up with all your Rec Poker pals, and we can all keep on learning together in the context of community.
Sweet. I'd say I got two more things to add. One I'm pretty ignorant about, but I'm excited about, if that makes sense. Because we got Pet Vet in the chat, and I know she started this empowerment group and conversation around that, and I'm super excited about that. About what she has going on there. I wasn't able to attend. I don't even know if I'm invited, but anyway, it's something. I don't even know. She wouldn't even have me, even if I fit the criteria. I don't think I've gotten so lucky against her in the home game. But anyway, she is fantastic, and she's got this big vision to contribute. Like a lot of people are right now in the poker industry, trying to move the game forward a little bit. And so I really highly recommend check that out in the group section. If you're listening to this, you're like, what does that even mean? I don't know how to do it. Email us. We will get you connected with Kim, and she'll get connected with you. So email me, steve@rec.poker. We'll get you connected on that. And the other one is just a huge thank you, Rec Poker Nation. We say this all the time. We are getting so much feedback, positive feedback from people that are encountering other rec poker people, whether it's at the tables, whether it's online in the home games or whatever. They're like, this is just so different. This is just feels different. And so obviously I'm not everywhere. Jim's not everywhere. Chris and Andrew aren't everywhere. Who's ever out there helping us be consistent with this feeling of community, thank you, because people are taking notice. And we've got a lot of conversations that are happening with potential partners. A lot of individuals are like, man, what's going on there at Rec Poker? And so it's super exciting, but it's huge. Thank you to everybody that's kind of grabbing hold of this vision and saying, you know what? Like Kenny said, we can play, we can have fun, we can do it together, and we can actually be positive force in the world. So thanks for that. So there's my little soapbox for the week, as you probably are all getting used to. But anything else before we wrap up, guys? Everybody good? Everybody good? All right. So if you're wondering what this whole premium thing is about, go to rec.poker. You can sign up for a premium membership. Use the code RECPOKER, RECPOKER. You get $10 off the first payment. So if you pay monthly, it's $15. Take $10 off. Try it for $5. If you like it, stick around. If you don't, tell us why and then leave. Whatever you
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's trial and error, $5. And if you're really upset, Jim will pay you the $5 back. And it'll be Canadian, so it's not worth quite as much. He'll take care of that for you. But seriously, thank you to Kenny Hallaert. That was fantastic. Jim, Chris, Andrew, thanks for jumping on here. Kim in the chat, fantastic to have you there. Why don't we just go ahead? We'll cue the music. Jim, that's a go there, because I've been told to not wait till the very end for that. But I do want to thank Running Aces Casino Racetrack and Hotel. Thank website AMP. Great stuff. Thank you.